Mark, you can stay as well, but y'all welcome to vacate because all we're gonna do is cover our agenda after that, so. yeah.
I know you say Pat Carter's having their 10th anniversary.
Okay.
I know they are, this conflicts with that, and
I told them I might slide by on the way home.
Okay.
See everybody.
Well, you can give them I gave them my regrets, but you can further give them my regrets.
That's good, that's good.
I would love to spend some more one-on-one time with you sometime if you got,
Just let me know.
okay, have you got a card? I don't have mine yet. I'll get your number. I'll get.
Just let me know. Just fix it, kind of slow down.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ramp up, so between now and January, I wanna.
Yeah, you're gonna wrap, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
My friend.
Yeah, that's,
Our Facebook stream for our work session, so what I'm going to do is call this meeting to order. We do not have to have in a work session a quorum, but we have, the Vice Mayor is on the line. We have Alderman Vaughn and Alderman Beatty here with us, and we are honored to be joined by our newest state senator, Senator Williams, Senator Bart Williams, who wanted to come, and I invited him to come and listen to Mr. Joe Max Higgins, who's going to present us some industrial update for the city and the county and the Golden Triangle as a whole. So with that, I will turn it over to you and let you do your thing, please.
well, before we get started, is there anything, Craig, heavy on your mind that you want to talk about, want to discuss, or want to make sure we cover for you? In other words, is there something, a hanging chat out there that you wonder about, or something that's been left off before we get into the nuts and bolts?
I don't know. Anybody, Vice Mayor, you have anything that in particular you want Mr. Higgins to cover?
No, ma'am, Mayor, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, I'll start with our presentation, and I just did some slides because I think that helps everybody. And I'm gonna talk mostly about North Star Park, mostly, but not exclusively. You can go. This is our budget. It's kind of covered up there, but we've got about $3.3 million left over out of the bond issue. I might draw attention to the third from the bottom on the left, the guaranteed site prep. That's in progress. We do have their invoice. It will be in process with the city and the county to pay. If y'all will remember, part of our deal with them is we would agree to provide them $400,000 in site preparation on building that building. It's the building as well. It's nearing completion. But we want to wrap up that loose end, get that payment, and it's my understanding that Colray is submitting an invoice to us probably this week. That will be submitted to the city and the county for payment. So that balance will go down about $400,000. So about $2.9 million still left in the bond issue. We still got some issues outstanding with the environmental, the cultural mitigation. We still will have some more expenditures there, but we will end up with a surplus of money, and we'll have some plans and recommendations for y'all on that. So y'all have any questions about where we are on the budget? And I'll actually, we put this on the thumb, and Mayor, you can leave this with y'all.
Okay, cool.
So you'll have it in your possession for y'all's use if you need to.
Okay, all right.
Again, so probably the only thing other than guarantee where we're spending money right now is the water tank. And I'll point this out now, and I'll point it out when we get to the slide. If you'll remember, TVA was going to participate in a pad construction. They're participating in your water tank, but also the pad construction. They had some issues with Department of Archives and History and getting some sign-offs. And the quick fix on what we decided to do is just take their money away from the pad and increase the water tank by that amount. So TVA is paying the water tank. You got $1 million from ARC, and then the balance is locally. So you'll see payments coming in because the water tank is starting to develop. If y'all haven't been out there and seen it, it's under construction. If there's no more questions on the budget, we'll move on.
What's the completion date on the water tank?
If you'll remember, it's like 400 days.
Okay.
You know, these costs of these tanks are so high. And they're saying part of it is there's just too much work. So Neil Schaefer recommended us to give a longer timeline that we would get a better price. You know, we bid it, we threw out the bids, we did it again. We got some better prices with the extension. But now that they've started, I can't envision that they're gonna dilly-dally, if you will. If you'll go by there daily, you should see progress. They're pouring those rings, those concrete rings. Yesterday I was out there and I think they had 4 and they were pouring the 5th. So it's almost like you can go by and see progress daily. Talk about your signage. This is out for bid, Mayor, I think with OCEDA, for the signage at the park. We had a sign designed by by TVA's Technical Services. The cost came in high because of the special stuff. We went back and worked with Neil Schaefer, and we think still have good-looking signs, but we reduced some areas where some costs were. They had some backlit stuff and some, you know, I won't say exotic, but pretty nice stuff, and we've taken it down to get more within our budget. You can flip. That's kind of what we envision it looking like. We're bidding the signage, landscaping, and those kind of things, taking bids on all of those. So those pictures down at the bottom should be reflective of what we should have as a finished product once we do it. I think the signs are probably going to come in maybe $100,000 over what we originally thought, but there's money there. And when we originally did this, I think we were thinking about 1 sign, now we got 2. So, any questions on the signage?
No, but I'd be looking forward to that bid coming in lower. It came in at like, what, 400,000?
Oh, yeah, it was unreal.
Yes, it was unbelievable.
So, you know, that's a probable cost, what Neil Schaefer thinks it is, and I'll leave that. That's kind of hard to read, but y'all have those. Talked about the water tank. Every month when we get our cost estimates, our engineers give us photos showing what has been done. More has been done now. This is the last pay estimate that was done with the foundation, and they started coming up, and this is what they call the composite tank. So it'll be that skinny tank and then the tank up at the top. But you can go on. Those are, back up, I'm sorry. That's representative of what's going on. You can now see the view corridor when you're coming on 82 of where that tank is. The but the crane is. You can see that crane, and that's going to be, that'll give you an idea of how far you'll be able to see it. The tank is probably taller than that crane, but that gives you an idea of what kind of visual you'll have when that's built. I'll also tell you, if you're coming on 82 going to the west, you can also see Garin sitting up on top of the hill. So it's now giving you the feeling that there's something going on and something happening, which I think is good. All right, so this is kind of from older slides we've shown you. Garin is in that charcoaly gray. They are nearing completion. We thought they would be finished. We thought they'd be longer. We talked to Colray last week, and they are getting on the last date. I'm not going to give you a completion date because I don't think they've all agreed on it, but soon. And I'll point out that the reason that's important is they've got to go into a new building. As soon as they get gone from the old facility, the old facility will be torn down and repurposed for the community good. So we're anxious to get Garin in there, and of course they are too. But I think if you go out there, I would encourage you. Right, you can drive in the parking lot, you can drive around back. Pretty good quality building. You can still see in there and get some idea about what it looks like as far as offices Pretty neat. The orange or salmon colored, that's where we were gonna build the pad, it's just the pad with the TVA money and your money. We have decided to put that on hold because we took that money from TVA and put it on the water tank. But we are going to, in the spring, be bringing and proposing that we do the SPEC building on that green site. Mayor came over and met with Agricel and Neil Schaefer and us some time ago. We are working on agreements with them. The idea is that we would gift that site along with a 100,000 square foot pad to Agricel. They will build a speculative building at their cost and market it at their cost with us. The SPEC building, you can go to the next slide. The SPEC building will be 50,000 square feet, expandable to 100,000 square feet. And it will be a good quality building. It won't be just be a metal building that you see. It'll be metal with some concrete block type stuff, but it will be aesthetically pleasing. We shared with the mayor 2 examples of buildings that they built elsewhere. And Mayor, I think you'd agree we all decided that those would be good. We do need to realize that when we do this stuff, the back of the building is what you're gonna see from 82. And so we will have some challenges when we build that building because that'll be a kick-out wall. That wall won't be there permanently unless whoever goes there doesn't expand the building. Any questions on that? We have instructed Kevin to do Stafford and Neil Schaefer to get everything ready, and that as soon as the weather is ready, that we think we can go ahead and advertise and bid the pad in the spring for him to be ready to do that. So we've kind of deferred to Neil Schaefer to say, is that March, is that April? Give us your best guess of when we need to advertise it, get it awarded, get the pad built, and then follow behind that, we'll have our agreements with Agricel that will formalize everything. Don't be concerned because we will have provisions for us to buy that building if somebody wants to own the building themselves. If you would choose to own the building and lease it to them, there will be buyout provisions in that contract with Agricel. So as an example, you may be able to buy it out the first year or 2 for $100,000. The longer that the building is set there and they carried it, the more that cost would likely go up, okay? But we've worked with them in the past, we've had good experience with them in the past, and are a good partner, and I think we can succeed with them. They do have a marketing network that will help us market the building. All right, let's go. Let's talk about projects. These are some of the projects that are looking at the park right now. Olympia is a project we're working with MDA. It's between $40 and $50 million capital investment. 60 would be key. It would make it fee and lieu. Job creation about 150, 200 jobs, average pay about 43 grand. As we understand the project, is they are already in the arena, in the automotive arena, but they want to expand to doing aerospace components and parts. Okay, so we've talked about this with y'all in the past. What kind of companies go there? We said car parts, a natural fit for this area. Airplane parts, not a whole lot of difference. We have submitted 3 sites on this. A lot of times we do not get the ability to do that, but we have submitted 3 sites. The North Star Park, Mama Wings is the site that's what we call it in West Point, and then the Lowndes County Port has been selected to be submitted. So those were all submitted and are in review. They're telling us probably we won't hear anything until after the first of the year, but they're in review, and they've asked us a couple of data calls that we've answered and clarified some questions that they had.
Joe Axe?
Yeah.
Go back. Sorry.
Yeah, that average pay number, we've talked about this before. What would the starting pay be, or the low end of that be? 25, 30?
Oh, it probably, this is from, in that park out there with something like this, I'd say you'd be in the, let's do it per hour. You're probably gonna be in the $15, $16 per hour.
Okay.
Would be a guess, maybe a 14. Understand, we don't wanna recruit companies
Right.
that,
Understand.
that don't, I mean, we've got a limited amount of resources, we just don't wanna recruit companies that don't move the needle a little bit.
Well, and what unfortunately people see is they see average pay and
And they
they
say
read
that's what
that as
everybody makes.
beginning pay, and it's
Yeah.
not true, so.
Yeah, that plant manager's gonna make well over 6 figures, and
Yes.
somebody, and a janitor's
Yes.
gonna make less, you
Yes.
know,
So,
true statement. Okay, next one. This is one that's already here that we're working with, and, we were asked to help them. This is one that will move your needle. You know, when you get out there in a town this small, when you create 40 or 50 jobs that are 6-figure type jobs that are advanced education people, I mean, it's going to move the needle. And, I know y'all know that they've been here in our research park for a long time, but they are a very, very good quality company. If you don't know them, you should. They are doing some stuff that, you know, the old statement, if I told you I'd have to kill you. They're doing some cutting edge stuff that all of us should be glad they're doing, because it's gonna make us all safer. And we're working with them, and, had a conference call with Senator Wicker and his staff on it, on some things that they need some help on. They're not asking us for money, okay? They're asking us for help and influence, and we're doing that.
So if they're adding 40 to 50 jobs, they're gonna be needing more space?
Probably so.
Okay.
Probably
Looking
so.
at, consolidating in a larger space, or just expand?
Still exploring, we don't
Adding,
know,
okay.
we're still exploring on it, but your intuition is correct. Yeah, it's gonna need more space, which is not a bad thing.
No, that's a good thing.
Yep. Any other questions on that one? Okay, we are working, the solar business is just nuts right now, just nuts. And we are working a ton of these, and I would tell you that back 5-10 years ago, we saw a flurry of this, and we just kind of said, not. We didn't want to waste time with it, we didn't think it was viable. A lot of you are old enough to remember in the 70s when we were told we were all gonna have solar panels on top of our houses, and here we are in 2020, and we still don't have them, most of us, almost all of us don't have them. What's driving this is our companies that want green power, okay? And so I want you to think in kind of a hierarchical deal is that TVA is put out for RFP solar contracts. And understand as I understand it, Terry, you might have a better feel for it. They're not doing this on spec. In other words, if they award a contract, they've got somebody that's gonna use it. So, the first one that we've seen of significance, announced last year in Lowndes County, Oregon, announced a 200 megawatt plant, with a BESS, battery energy storage system. So batteries and a solar farm. Capital investment on that's gonna be somewhere between $250 million. After they announced that, we started having some conversations with them and other solar providers about what we were trying to do in the data center recruitment realm, because they want green power. And we are now working, I think, with 5 different solar companies, looking at sites in our service territory. One of the sites that has been looked at is here in Starkville, well, not in Starkville, in our Tillahaw County, adjacent to Starkville. And we, during the midst of COVID, we put a site together in Clay County, a site together here. 4,000 acres put under option in the middle of COVID. We never attended a meeting. We had virtual meetings with the Board of Supervisors, virtual meetings with the school district, and put together that project. I tell you all that to tell you that this go-round of contract awards was supposed to happen at the end of October. They tell us the middle of November now is the date. They have a board meeting today, started at 9 or 10 o'clock this morning, and we've got somebody watching the board meeting to see if they award contracts today. So, these are not a lot of jobs, but they're a cash cow as far as tax revenue. You're not putting any money in the projects, and there's a lot of money invested. So,
For the county.
That would be for the county, that would be for the county, correct. And again, you know, I will tell y'all that we work for 3 counties and West Point does it the best. Years ago, Scott Ross was mayor and Robbie Robinson, who's now mayor, was the chancery clerk. And they sat down and worked out an agreement that they would share cost and revenue on fee in lieu projects. So Yokohama is not in the city limits. But the city of West Point has a debt obligation and an income stream from that project. When Pico went in the city limits of West Point, they share on that, but instead of sharing what normally would be their share of the ad valorem, their percentage of ad valorem tax, the agreement says that they'll split the money 50-50. So the city has lower millage, but on Pico, they're getting a full 50% share. I just tell you that to tell you that they seem to have worked it out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Understand.
But it worked well. All right, let me back up. Heretofore, it has worked well. But these projects, you're gonna see them, there's massive capital investment. There's $200 million no matter what. We expect, or in high hopes, that we'll get 1 or 2 of these awarded this go round. We don't know that, but we hope. This company is in good stead with them. They were announced this week or last week that they're gonna provide 100% of the power to the Google Hyper Data Center I think Clarksville. So it's real. That's a pie in the sky deal, but it's not so much pie in the sky. Any questions, comments?
Can you say where the 4,000 acres is?
Well, 2,000 acres in Clay County, 2,000 acres
Okay.
around Tillamook County, and it's generally described as north of the North Star Industrial Park.
Okay. And my next question would be, my follow-up question would be, is how far north of the North Star Industrial?
Pitch and wedge, starts the pitch and wedge away
Okay, cool, thank you.
and goes north.
Okay.
Mayor,
Vice Mayor, yes, sir.
how far north of the North Star Park I didn't get that response?
Well, he was being cute. He said a pitching wedge, so a stone's throw. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that's it. Okay, I understand where you are, Mr. Higgins. I know.
Not adjacent to Vice Mayor, but damn close to it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Joe Mayor,
Yes, sir.
how is City of West Point sharing in the revenue? I thought when Yokohama went in, the city was not gonna get any revenue off it, the school system would, but tell me how that worked, how's that working with them?
They entered into a interlocal agreement, would that be the proper way to say it? An interlocal agreement, agreeing to share 50-50 the proceeds and fee and lieu. And they did that, but they did that before we started working for them.
County and city did.
The county and the city did, and it has to be, speak to that, I don't know.
Yeah, it has to be approved by the AG, has to be filed with the Secretary of State, but that's the way it's set up structurally.
But that stuff ain't kicked in yet because of upfront tax incentives that are, or is it?
No, it's kicked in.
Is that fee and little taxes for year 1, right, or year 2 or something?
Yeah, it's kicked in, and they're both getting, you know, that project was very rich incentivized to win it. They're both getting a nominal sum, okay? They're not getting a whole lot of money, year 1 through year 10. They're making their payment, making a little bit of profit.
Gotcha.
Year 11, they're gonna both get a pretty good lick, okay, the city and the county. Pico's a different animal. It's fee and lieu eligible, but we didn't put any money in it. There's 0 community money in the project, so
City of West Point.
City of West Point or Clay County didn't put any money in it, so when they pay their fee and lieu payment, 100% of that to the city and the county will be unmortgaged profit money. That make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So city and county put any there's no bond money, anything in that Pico project?
Nope. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. They, there's no state money in it.
They just built it themselves. And that's been help.
Yeah.
That bucks a trend. I mean, right, it's.
Well, you know, I think they're privately owned, and Eddie Lane, who was the chief financial officer at the steel mill, used a phrase, and he talks about money with hair on it. I just don't think they wanted money with hair on it.
Gotcha.
They're privately owned, they like to row their own boat, they like to call their own shots, and they don't want somebody in there telling them, you get this money, but you gotta do this, you gotta do this. So the only incentive they got is a fee in lieu, which is a reduction in their ad valorem tax for 10 years. But none of that fee in lieu money is mortgaged, okay? So
So that's revenue right up front for the county.
right up front with the county. Now, not the schools, because there's a flaw in the school funding formula, and there's a flaw in the school funding
I read
formula
about
that
that.
affects y'all. I think we've talked about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
But this is something, Bart, that needs to be fixed, and it's hard. But because of the way the school funding formula works, many of the school districts they don't generate enough money locally that this is considered net new money. It is in Lowndes County, it's not in Clay, it's not in Columbus, and it's not in Starkville, Aldermen. We got 4 school districts. It's net new money in 1 of my school districts. It's not net new money in 3. And it needs to be fixed.
Thank you.
There's the senator.
And he's making notes.
Yeah, it's, well, actually, he said he wanted to get together. That's one of the things I want to make him aware of, because it's a problem. And hopefully it'll get fixed this session. Thought it was going to get fixed last session. But these are, how we're looking at these are cash cows. Now, then you get asked the question, one of my executive committee members asked me, are we taking good arable land, is how somebody might phrase it, and using it for this? Most of these projects are taking agricultural land that probably won't be anything other than agriculture or marginal land of the projects that we're working. One of them, however, has got their eye on some very valuable land, and we're having some heavy discussions with them, okay? Because we don't want that to happen. All right, anybody else? Okay. Spectrum is looking at North Star Park, $40 million, 220 jobs, plumbing fixtures, and you can't see the little note there, but this is a project we get through our partnership with our Europeans. This is FDI, foreign direct investment. They have still not yet been able to come over here and make site visits. That note says that the end of October, early November, they're going to pick 10. We talked with our consultant yesterday and the state yesterday. They understand that that's coming, but it hasn't been. So we don't know sitting here today whether we're one of the 10 or we're cut, or one of the 10 or we're cut. They would prefer an existing building. They will do a build to suit like the Agricel building. In our proposal, we discussed at length that building, what it looks like, what the timing is, and it was acceptable. I will tell you that yesterday, we've added to the equation on this project the flex steel building, okay? Because we've looked at it and gone through it, and we've said, hey, if that doesn't meet your timeline, but you like our community, we know it's late, but here's a building that might meet your needs, and so that was done yesterday. Again, good investment, good number of jobs. I know it's not sexy plumbing fixtures, but folks, we all use them, every day. All right, next. Trinity, this is the hyper data. This is that part. Can you go back to that map that had Garin and the little plat map? Yeah. Everything west of, what's that road?
Jack Wallet? Oh, up in, what's the road, Edward? Shoot, I'm drawing a blank.
Yep.
Yes, thank you, yes.
No, not Sudeth.
Oh. Rutherford.
Everything west of Rutherford Road we've had a no-go on that. We've got that set aside. Now you can go back to where you were. This is a project that we thought was going to happen this calendar year. It's delayed. We have had a conversation, a conference call with them within the last few weeks. It is not dead. They have given us some more work to do on the project, and it's meaningful. And what they're asking us to do, I'm not going to tell you because it may give some competitive advantage to somebody else that might somehow hear about this. But I will tell you that we have reached out and engaged Mississippi State, and we'll be meeting down with them next week. Have had a couple conversations with them on helping us solve a problem. And when I say a problem, not an insurmountable problem, just ways to do stuff. And they've given us a team that we're going to work with them. But it's the high paying, it is, and that's at $3 billion in divided by 3. It's sites in all three communities. The job counts divided by 3. Probably along this vein is this is not the only one that we're working. We've been meeting with vendors that supply others in this realm. It's getting kind of crazy, and you're going to see a new marketing initiative video from it. We're doing one for North Star by itself. It's, I think, in the can. And we're doing another one that's entitled something like From Mega to Hyper. So it's talking about our success in the mega site development arena and then going to hyper data. And it's specifically for the hyper data industry. We have a call with TVA on Monday at 10:30, I think, to get their take on where we are on this project, to get them to reaffirm their commitments to us on this project. And I can tell you that in the call, they anticipate an RFP out in the spring and a selection at the end of the calendar year. If you'll remember, that's what I told you the previous year, and COVID hit. But it was March, December. I said, well, it seems to me like all you've done is kicked it for a year for COVID, and he said, well, it's not too far off. So we still remain excited. That's our bell cow. That's, you know, what do you got going that you want to do? That's it. Because the game slows down.
Is that job creation number a little higher than it was originally, or?
No, it's divided by 3.
Right,
Okay, so
right, but it's still the
about
same.
50 jobs per location.
Okay.
If it is, I think we've always figured 50 per.
Okay.
But if you saw a number, it might have been just for this location. Yeah, I don't know. We've got some presentation that just divides it up for each town, and then it's not gonna happen that way. All 3 gotta happen, or none of them gonna happen.
Right.
This is the one y'all done everything, the other county done everything you need to do the bonds. It's in the arena of water and sewer use and some things we can do to be creative in that area, and some other things. They were very complimentary of our proposal. We had a call with 6 people, the main guy and 5 lieutenants, and yesterday had a conversation with John Runsville with MDA, brought him up to speed on where we are on the project and where we think we are. And so he knows when he's briefing the governor and the staff. So, all right. Gary, not a lot to say about Gary. Go out and look if you haven't been out there. I don't think it's I don't think that you'll find the building look offensive. I think it sits on top of that hill. I think it sits pretty. I think when you ride down the corridor, you look up there and it's there. You see the water tank, you see them. Don't forget kind of geographically where the SPEC building's going to go. I don't know. I was out there yesterday, just kind of parked in the median and said, you know, it's kind of taking shape. It's kind of fun. Next. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but I do want to give my team some credit. This is the 3rd go around that TVA has had a certified community program. Okay, we're not talking about certified next cycle, but now we're in the livability, we're in those kind of things that make a community except for just jobs. We said we don't want to do this 3 times. We don't do this for Starkville, for West Point, or for Columbus. So we went to them and said, is there any way that you will let us certify our region? They said, we've never done it. They went and talked. They said, yep, we'll do that. Jeanette Goldsmith is a consultant that they retained to do this. She's the lady that brought PACCAR to the region, where the firm she used to work with. And we submitted all assets, think about it, of all 3 communities, and we became the first rural certified region in TVA. and Marilyn McCauley and Betsy did it. The consultant, Jeanette, said the best proposal that she has seen in the 3 years that they've done these. Very complimentary on us, and we're gonna use that as a marketing tool when we do things. And y'all should be proud of that, but you didn't do it by yourself, you did it as a region, and that's just pretty cool, and I thought if I came over here, I should tell y'all about that. Next thing, Flex Steel. Flex Steel is closed, as y'all know, and again, I don't know if I've met with y'all since closure was announced, but you know, how quickly the worm turns. About February of last year, and Mayor, I think we shared this with you, they said this is gonna be our biggest year ever, we're gonna expand by, 100-something people, and capital investment, and MDA had been out there, and we were talking about paving parking lots, and putting air conditioning in the building, and rocking and rolling through an existing industry deal. Then, lo and behold, COVID hits, boom, they're closed. We've got a couple of things. In the last few weeks, we've gone out and taken photographs of the building. They've been moving equipment out. We've been trying to figure out when's the right time to do it. We also have drone footage, and we can share that with you, but they told me I couldn't put it on PowerPoint because it'd make it too cumbersome. But we've got drone footage of it. We have a couple of companies that are looking at it. One we thought was the most promising, and Mayor, I think you had a conversation with one of their executives, kind of happenstance, wasn't it?
It was.
And basically they're doing another project in another part of the state, and they told Mayor and us, different people, is they just can't do two projects at once. That they gotta get this other project done, and the lines added up, put online, and that they wanna be here, they wanna come here, but they gotta get that one done because they don't have enough manpower, corporate, to do it. We have really wrestled with this and said, well, do we wanna get creative? Do we wanna go to the state and see if we could give them an interest-free loan for 2 years to acquire the building that slows the game down so it's there when they get ready? But if we do that, we take it off the market. And we can't submit it on Spectrum like we did. So the building is, cost per square foot is probably higher than we want it to be. We're working with the realtor on that. I'll give you a friend of a lot of y'all, Reed Nelson, has a phrase that he said, I told him the price of it, and he said, well, the building's for sale, it's just not on sale. And I think some of y'all will get that. I think those are things we can work around and through. We do have a project manager, Aaron, has been assigned to us at NDA, that's our contact and working with us on that, and we are looking to try to get somebody on it. It's not just that main building, you understand, there's 3 buildings. We did ask the question, we got somebody looking for a smaller building in Oklahoma County right now. We did ask the question if they would subdivide out that retail store, and the answer was no. No, don't want to do that. It's right there on that corner, and I said, no, we think that would hurt us. What else? Is that it? Okay. Questions, comments, suggestions, something you don't know, you want to know? Something that's not clear.
Our new core status is still kind of up in the air.
I
at this
didn't want to
point.
cover that. I didn't know if you wanted to.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Okay.
Nucor has left us, but we're still working with them to try to figure out what we're gonna do. We've got the land, and we think they've got the building, or some variation on that theme, so we're gonna get another appraisal, I believe. They're gonna get an appraisal.
Yeah, and I was in that mailbox. I responded to a May 8th email to the mayor, Chris Pace yesterday. I apologize. I'm assuming we've done that, but yeah, and I think it would be defined as what if you want to be politically correct, what we have not yet done is manage agreement on what the value of the land and what the value of the building is.
Good way to say it.
But once we do that, I think there is a mechanism where we can sell and market it now. The roof on that building, we've got drone footage of it as well, inside and outside. It's not in as good shape as the Flex Steel building. It's taller ceilings. The offices are phenomenal, okay? So we just got to figure that out. But we're working, so everybody knows, we're working with Mayor, with Mr. Latimer and Chris Pace, our attorney, and the company. And I expect, you know, that this will get done fairly soon, and I figure we'll get to an agreement. It's just what's the land worth, what's the building worth. And if you own the building, Ms. Sistrum, you think the building's worth more. And if you own the land,
Absolutely.
this young lady thinks her land's worth more. And we've got to figure out what that looks like.
Sure, sure.
Let's be really clear, I don't think it's my land.
Well, you're representative. You
Yes,
want to talk about
yeah, I
it.
think the city's land is worth a whole lot, yes, I do.
Yeah.
So, and we'll obviously, you know, we'll update the board when we have more to tell, but I just knew that with Joe Max there, that
Yes, ma'am.
he could kind of round out this discussion with the things that we know are going on from a industry standpoint, so. Anything else?
No,
All right.
anything we need to be
Do
doing
we
for
have any,
y'all?
yeah, do we have any questions?
I appreciate you coming today,
Oh, no.
and this is helpful
Glad to come.
to see how much you're working on, so that's great.
The geographic footprint of the TVA certified community, is that the 3 counties?
Yes, sir.
The entirety of those 3
Yes,
counties?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Vice Mayor, since you're not there and I can't see a raised hand, do you have any questions of Mr. Higgins?
No, ma'am, Mayor, a very thorough report. Mr. Higgins, thanks as always.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
Anyone?
sir.
No, Mayor.
All right. Alderman
Yeah.
Vaughn, anything from
No,
you?
ma'am, Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joe Max, we
And-
appreciate you being here.
And Senator, the school thing is something that, you know, we'll get you schooled up on, and where you know about it, and we need to figure that out.
Y'all make a long lunch date.
Yes, if you're available next week, I'll get with you after this meeting and we'll get together and I'll go down there and I've got a job now.
There you go.
I've got a
Yeah.
task,
Oh, we
yeah.
got more than that.
Does that impact other parts of the state, or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so, I know you want me to go, but let me.
No, you can stay if you want to. It's-
No, so, Ms. Sedstrup, here's the long and the short of it. All school districts in the state have to have a certain millage rate
Right,
to qualify for state funds.
right.
And I'm gonna guess at this, so don't, I may be, say it's 36 mils, and I think it is, but it may be different. What it means is that if any school district in this state doesn't levy 36 mils, they don't get any state money. How many school districts do you think don't levy 36 mils?
Zero.
Zero. All of them do, whatever the minimum is. But there's another test. The other test says
Percentage.
that you have to raise 27% of your budget, of your funds locally. Locally. That kind of tells you that most of our school districts are getting their money. We want to say it's our local school district and we're supporting them, but if they're not meeting the 27% threshold, the majority of the money's coming from the state and the city. Okay? Starkville, Octave, Hall County Schools does not generate 27%. West Point does it and Columbus does it. So what happens is, and this started at West Point, the superintendent over there, when Yokohama came in, Mr. Bates said they were supposed to get $940,000 a year. Well, when they went on the rolls, he didn't get it. He said, "Where's my money?" He was accusing the supervisors of keeping it. And he was on the paper, in the paper all the time. And you remember Foghorn Leghorn? Boy, you bother me. I called Chris Pace and I said, "I want to shut this gentleman up. He's bothering me." Chris went back and looked at it. He called and said, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I've talked to the other 4 big law firms and nobody knew about this." In 2006, there was a change to the law, the MAP law. And what it does is if you don't generate that 27%, every dollar you get from the company is penalized the money you don't get from the state. So Yokohama was paying West Point their money. They were paying the tax assessor collector portion of the money. But when the school did their formula, there's a form there, you have to put that number in there and they deduct. We had a bill that we thought was gonna get passed last session, that let the school districts, let the companies not pay anything to the schools and negotiate a gift that we thought might be acceptable, and it almost got passed. But now the companies have kind of gotten organized. There's below the line and above the line. And the below the line is a charitable gift. They'd rather it be above the line. Their position had been, when I say their position, this is a company not in the Golden Triangle. If you got a problem, then they need to fix it. Don't ask us to do a charitable gift and not get the benefit on our above the line, below the line. These guys got a problem, got to fix it. The problem is, when he goes and opens up the MAP, everybody and their brother got some changes they want to make to that. Now, the rubber meets the road in Clinton, because Clinton issued bonds for their school in the anticipated revenue. And that'll generate 27%. That's where the speaker is.
Oh, no, you didn't say that.
Yeah, he lives in Clinton.
No, I think that is a reason why
I got you.
this can get fixed, and it should get fixed. Because otherwise, if we're taking our community's money and mortgaging, say, out Hall County or Starkville or any of our other clients, and we're mortgaging them at 75 or 80% on a fee and lieu to do a deal, but you always knew that you had the school money, it was okay, because we all live out the same trough, right? As long as there's community wealth created. When there's not community wealth created, we got a problem. And it needs to be fixed. It does not affect every school district. I don't think the DeSoto County schools get affected. But most all the people that do what I do have one or more school districts in their service territory that get affected. And you say, well, what's the chance? When a fee in lieu was $100 million, very few of those are going to get done. Fee in lieu threshold is now $60 million. So then you got to ask yourself, what's the measurable chance that in 82 counties in Mississippi, how many $60 million projects can get done? With the cap cost going up, with the equipment going up, and the cost of these projects. In other words, it's less labor, higher rate, less labor, more machinery, more high capital investment. The likelihood of $60 million or more, in my opinion, is at least a third of the counties in Mississippi, maybe 40% of the counties in Mississippi could get one. That help?
Marching orders.
I got in trouble.
You know where the opposition was for the bill last year in Jackson? Where?
I'd rather not say.
Okay.
Why don't y'all step outside and have that conversation?
Come out here and I'll tell you.
Go out there.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for coming by, Joe Max. We
Not a
always
problem.
appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
And Senator, appreciate you being here with us.
Thank
And
you
let
for
us know
having
if there's anything that we need to do from the city's perspective to help you at all down in the cabinet.
Absolutely, and the same.
Thank
please.
you, appreciate it. We will be coming to you, so.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you, ladies
thank you,
and
appreciate
gentlemen,
it.
for having me.
Bye-bye.
Congratulations. Take care.
All righty. As always, interesting and informative and entertaining. All right, having said that, let's go through our agenda, guys. Vice Mayor, are you gonna stay with us?
Mayor, I think I'm gonna leave. I'm familiar with the agenda, so everything looks fine, so I'm gonna be satisfied with whatever my colleagues decide for consent.
All right, I appreciate that then. Thank you so much. Have a great
Thank you,
weekend.
Mayor. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, I believe we can go through this fairly quickly, guys. So we have 3 sets of minutes. Mr. Latimer, have you looked at those, and those are all,
Yes, ma'am. We made corrections yesterday, and Lisa is implementing or has implemented.
okay? All right, so with the agreement of consent for those 3 sets of minutes?
Consent.
All right, thank you. I don't know what comments I'll make, but there may be some available to us. Anyone have anything they want listed? We have no, to my understanding, I don't see Mr. Ashford here. I don't know that we've got anyone to introduce since we haven't been introducing anyone with COVID, with the COVID situation. So leaving that, anyone have anything they want on the agenda for comments of any kind? All right, no public appearances, no public hearings. We do have consideration of calling for the first public hearing, and this is to amend our code, which we have to do in order to adopt our new street map and do any name street changes. And so that's what this is about. So it's just considering calling for the first public hearing. So consent on that one. And under board business, we have consideration of calling for the first public hearing to amend the no smoking ordinance. And this is something that has come up by virtue of an opportunity in Alderman Vaughn's ward, and he's been doing the research on it for the most part, which is, I greatly appreciate, which is in part why it's under board business, but I think we have an opportunity to have something that is new and different in the city, and this effectuates that and ensures that the smoking ordinance still remains strongly intact for the purpose of no smoking, but this potentially allows for a sole smoking area, and specifically a cigar sales and smoking area, so it is solely for smoking activity. And so that's what that's intended to do. The details will be in the ordinance, which is attached with the e-packet and with your agenda, so you'll be able to see that, and if there are any questions about it, we can discuss it further. But again, this is just calling for the first public hearing, so if anyone has any objection to that, I would suggest to put it on
Just leave it
consent.
off, 'cause
You leave it off?
cause
Okay.
So you can make some comments.
Yeah.
Okay,
something-
all right,
something
well,
like
then we'll-
somebody else conflicts. something.
Sure, all right, well, then we'll leave it off.
And Mayor, just to tag that, when you look at the ordinance in your packets, the new language is either in yellow highlight or red type.
Yes. Okay, second is consideration for approval of interlocal. This is the agreement with Oktibbeha County to share for the cleaning of Skinner Creek. Mr. Kemp has looked at the cost of doing a clean out for Skinner Creek from a drainage standpoint, and we will be doing the in-kind portion of that. We have machinery and people. The county will share with us, it's about $20,000, and it's a 10-10 split. Ours is in kind, and they will be paying us a value amount back to us for doing the service. So consent on that one?
Consent.
All right, thank you. Airport, the 5-year basic agreement service plan, have you gotten that one handled, Chris?
Yeah, Rodney emailed late yesterday afternoon with changes back from QT Pod, but the document wasn't attached, so I need to get my hands on that document today, so let's leave it on. I think we're really close to a deal.
Okay.
And if for some reason we don't strike it between now and Tuesday, we can pull it off.
Okay, so we will put that one on for consent, okay, and then we can certainly pull it if we need to. Community development, this is a final plat approval for the preserve at Huntington Park. Any issues with this one from,
No, the planning and zoning commission on Tuesday unanimously approved this one with the 5 conditions. Conditions just include the normal stuff like the covenants and the performance guarantee and surety bond issues.
okay,
So that there is no specific items that need to be addressed.
okay. Any issues from your standpoint, Mr. Kemp?
They'll have to come back at a later date and do the encroachment agreement.
Okay.
For their entry signage. We've been waiting on some documents from them, they haven't provided them, so.
Okay.
They'll have to come back at a future meeting.
Okay, but that's for a different element of that rather than the final plat, that's signage.
Right.
Okay, all right. Any
It's
issues with
okay to put it on consent?
consent? Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, under engineering, this is just acceptance of a quote for the sidewalk project, and this is the project that connects up Lincoln Green and the Loxley Way. Thank you. I was losing my language there, Loxley Way. So any issues with that one?
No, ma'am.
Consent on that?
Consent.
Okay, and then accepting the quote for a 1-year warranty for an excavator, which apparently has a lot of moving parts and has had issues, and so we'd like to extend that warranty. So,
Consent.
consent for that, okay. Claims docket, obviously not, and then the financial statements, we usually find those to be consent worthy. Any issues there? Okay. IT, this is an approval for SATA Systems for the purchase of Google Maps platform. And Joel, you want to expand on that just a little bit?
Yes, Mary, this is actually no cost. This is using Google Maps platform on the back end of our security camera system. Not something that will be externally available. This is just for internal use. And even if we adopt it after this pilot program, we do not anticipate that our usage level will trigger any cost. Because there's the trigger for cost is based on how much you use it, and we're just using it internally. We only have about 5 or 10 users that use the back end of the camera software system as it is. This helps us visualize where the cameras are, and also helps us create zones visually, kind of like geographical information system.
Okay.
So again, no cost, and this is a pilot program to see if we can get some use out of it.
Okay, and Chris, have you looked at that agreement?
I have, it's clear.
It's clear?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Consent for that? Okay. And I apologize, you've got an old one. Do you have
That's-
another?
that's okay.
Agenda?
That's okay.
All right. Okay, parks, this is award of Cornerstone Park Field installation to the lowest bidder. Mr. Doherty, you got anything you want to add to any of this?
No.
Okay, all right. Any
Consent.
consent on that, all right. Authorization to purchase a touch, okay, this is a kind of a COVID request. This is touchless stuff for purposes of not, you're not coming in contact with things. And the anticipation is that the CARES Act would support this, and if we got any issues, anyway, we can cut it back if we need to. Have we been able to do any kind of, let's say, preliminary questions about whether or not the CARES Act money would pay for this?
No, they are not taking preliminary questions.
Okay, all right. Yes, so that was what this was about, was to try to see if we could do that so that we could keep it as safe and healthy as possible related to the CARES Act.
So this would be the 75% reimbursable portion? Okay.
Based on what they've reimbursed in the past, I believe this will clear.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So, are we good with consent on that, or you want to leave it off for discussion?
Consent.
Consent for you? Okay, all right. Authorization to contract with Neil Schaefer to do the final post-construction as-built survey for the phase 1 and provide a base map for the next phase of the work. And this is for post-construction, this is for what, Sportsplex?
Cornerstone.
Cornerstone.
Cornerstone. The survey is developed.
Oh, that's, okay, well, I didn't just see Cornerstone in here. Lisa, would you, when you go back to take a look at this, would you put the Cornerstone in the language on this, please?
Just add at Cornerstone.
Yeah,
Core.
yeah. Any issues with that?
Consent.
Consent for that? All right, thank you. Code enforcement, this is a public hearing for the structures located 606 Whitfield and 102 Curtis, and as menaces to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community. And we are transitioning, as you can see, we're transitioning this to the police department, and I'd like to publicly thank Simon and the community development for working with the chief and his folks as they're getting up to speed on this. And so this is just calling for public hearing, so I think consent's appropriate for this.
Consent.
Thank you. And then police asking for department SWAT team to attend the U.S. Marshal Service on the Gulf Coast.
Consent.
No registration fee. Okay, consent for that. Thank you. And sanitation, rear loader, refuse truck. So what signs of needed repairs are we talking about, Calvin? Where are you? There you are.
The transmission, it's in the shop now for transmission, repair, but it's not gonna, it wasn't the transmission, it was the university job.
Okay.
It's passed out, and then the age of that truck.
What age is it?
It's a 2002 Freightliner.
2002, all right. I'd say it's about lived its useful life. And as a part of this, I want us to make sure that we look at potential alternative fuel vehicles as we're doing this, as we're bidding these things out. I want us to add that into the structure. Ms. Harden, did you do that? You want me to repeat it? Yes, he's like Mr. Ashford at the department head meeting. Are you with me over here?
It's that chair, man.
It must be that chair.
Well, he said 2002, and.
This says
what was
2007.
What was submitted was 2007, so I pulled the wrong truck.
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay, all right, so
It's still.
that's all right. That's all right, we're doing important stuff. But I want to make sure that we add alternative fuels option for that bid, okay?
And frankly, it will probably be more
Okay.
Consent.
expensive, but
Still 13
the
years old.
payback period with fuel and maintenance is supposed to offset that.
Okay, so consent for that one?
Yeah, 'cause it's still 13 years old.
It is. It's still mature for having run the streets for that long. All right, under utilities, we've got a lowest quote for the repair of the electric division. This is the bucket truck, and it's an expensive repair, but we need it, right?
It's one of our support trucks, but this is also not only just repair, but it's normal maintenance that's coming in.
Right, okay, all right,
Consent.
consent for that one. And declaring the camera as surplus, those are always good, we can get rid of surplus stuff.
Consent.
Consent on that, and then City of Starkville to adopt the amendment to TVA Authority Enhanced Security Deposit Agreement, and Chris, you're looking at that,
I did, and we redlined it, and we're waiting on TVA's feedback on the red
They're
lines.
gonna let us know today.
okay?
What's that, Terry?
It's gonna let us know today.
Okay.
And
We
this
can
is
look-
just a one-time amendment to the existing agreement that was in 2002, so it does give a little protection, but I expect to get something back today.
Okay, we can leave it on consent if we need to take it
Put
off,
it on.
we can do that. All right, and that takes us to the end of the agenda, ladies and gentlemen. And I greatly appreciate everyone being here. Hopefully that was enjoyable with Mr. Higgins, and then we will have a good weekend and look forward to seeing everyone on Tuesday.
There you go.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. And we are
Chris,
adjourned.
good to see you, man.